In the late 90s, a 22-year-old kid named Jack hacked into the systems of a New York-based bike messaging dispatching company. Instead of suing the kid for the offense, the company decided to hire the kid and have him move from Missouri to New York. Flash forward to a few years later, in 1999, Jack decides to drop out of New York University, quit his job and moved to California to create his own startup focused on dispatching taxis and couriers. In 2002, at the peak of the dot-com bubble, he's fired from the company, and in 2005 he moves to San Francisco to create what would become Twitter. In 2007, Jack Dorsey becomes the CEO of Twitter, a position he held until November 2021. And all the while he was busy being the CEO of one of the most famous companies in the world, he created another one, Square, a payment processor company that generates billions of dollars in revenue. Jack Dorsey is not your typical CEO. How does one manage two massive tech companies at the same time, all the while finding time to invest in other ventures, giving away over $1 billion to charity, and go on meditative retreats up to 60 days per year? That's what we'll try to answer in this video. Let's get started. Lesson number 1, be relentless. Jack Dorsey has basically been innovating in the tech world for the past 20 years. He started with his dispatch software back in 1999, and even back then he was already doing 10 things at the same time. In fact, he sketched out the idea that would become Twitter for the first time in 2000. And he kind of put the idea to the side for years until in 2006 he was able to get help from two friends to start actually developing and coding the idea. Everyone has an idea, but it's really about executing the idea and attracting other people to help you work on the idea. In 2007, Dorsey became the CEO of Twitter, and a year later he got fired from his own company because board members found him unsuited for the job, unable to resolve critical technical issues in their eyes. They also didn't like his tendency to leave work early to go to the sauna or meditate for hours. So instead of mulling over this, after getting fired, Dorsey went ahead and founded Square 2 years later. Then in 2011, Twitter's management team got reshuffled and Dorsey returned to Twitter as CEO. Except this time, he was even busier than before, and not just because of yoga or sauna. He was also busy with the other company he had founded. He somehow convinced everyone involved that this was not a problem, and he began splitting his time between the two projects. In 2013, Twitter went public and Dorsey became a billionaire, and 2 years later, Square went public as well at a valuation of $2.9 billion. Long story short, Dorsey never stops, right? And being relentless and juggling between projects and ideas is not necessarily the right way to get things done, and it won't always work for everyone. Many people will actually not thrive in multitasking like Dorsey does. But what's for sure is this: by always innovating, looking for new ideas, and challenging the status quo, Dorsey was able to not only be extremely productive, but also to redefine two of the biggest industries of our modern times: social media and financial services. Lesson number 2, theme your days. In an interview he gave to Fast Company, Jack Dorsey was asked about his daily productivity routine. And here is part of his answer. All my days are themed. Monday is management. At Square we have a directional meeting. At Twitter we have our operating committee meeting. Tuesday is product, engineering and design. Wednesday is marketing, growth and communication. Thursday is partnership and developers. Friday is company and culture. On days beginning with T, I start at Twitter in the morning, then go to Square in the afternoon. Sundays are for strategy. Saturday is a day off. So day theming is a very popular time management technique among top Silicon Valley CEOs. Steve Jobs was also known to use this strategy. Day theming works great when you have many things to do and little time to allocate to each of those things, which is exactly the situation many CEOs are in. It's also very efficient because it helps the teams you work with to automatically align with you. When everybody knows what today's theme is, it's a lot easier to know what to do, what reports to prepare, what data to look at. In many companies, everyone gets assigned random tasks that can't really be linked together when looking at the bigger picture, and day theming ensures a minimum of consistency across everyone's workload and work topic. Lesson number 3, have a routine before and after. To help set the foundation for an efficient time management framework, a good morning and evening routine are very important as well. Dorsey wakes up around 6 a.m. and begins his day with an hour-long meditation. He's a big advocate of the Vipassana approach to meditation and has been on multiple silent retreats. In a 2019 podcast interview with Ben Greenfield, Dorsey said that the #1 most impactful decision he made around his mental health and stress handling has been meditation. After his meditation, Dorsey does a 7-minute workout and then goes into the sauna for about 20 20 minutes. On days he goes to the office, he actually walks there, which is amazing, and then he works remote on Tuesdays and Thursdays. In the evening, Dorsey goes to bed around 11 p.m. and before that, he clocks in 1 more hour of meditation and eats. And one note on eating, he's known for eating only 1 meal a day, and here's what he has to say about it. For the past 2 years, I only have dinner. I usually eat around 6:30 and eat until about 8:30 or 9 at the latest. Lesson number 4, ignore critics. Jack Dorsey was ranked one of the worst CEOs in America 2 years in a row in 2016 and 2017. He's been criticized many times for prioritizing his personal life and hobbies over growing the companies he helped create. Many investors haven't seen the return they had hoped for with their investment in Twitter, and they've blamed it on Dorsey more than once. They've also been unhappy with the fact that Dorsey splits his time between 2 companies. In their view, this dissipates a lot of energy, and they don't like that he's never able to fully focus on one thing at a time. But is that a fair judgment though? The main reason investors have been dissatisfied with Twitter is because the stock price has never really been that great, except during the pandemic. But can this be blamed on the CEO's routine? The stock market in general reacts in a million different ways to a million different factors, most of which are outside of the control of absolutely everyone, including the CEO of the company. The CEO and his or her employees' job is to do the best they can to provide value for the company, to do great work, and to keep moving forward. Jack Dorsey knows this, and that's why he's always tried to do meaningful work for the 2 companies he was heading for many years. In the book Deep Work, the author Cal Newport explains why Dorsey's work can't be considered shallow and how he thrives on his short-term model for productivity. I will quote the excerpt at length because I think it is very relevant to illustrate my point. So here's a long quote. Dorsey reports that he ends the average day with 30 to 40 sets of meeting notes that he reviews and filters at night. I do a lot of my work at stand-up tables, which anyone can come up to. I get to hear all these conversations around the company. This style of work is not deep. Dorsey's attention residue is likely slathered on thick as he darts from one meeting to another, letting people interrupt him freely in the brief interludes in between. And yet, we cannot say that Dorsey's work is shallow because shallow work is low value and easily replicable, while what Jack Dorsey does is incredibly valuable and highly rewarded in our economy. As of this writing, he was among the top 1,000 richest people in the world with a net worth of over $1.1 billion. And since then his net worth has increased to $4 billion. So in conclusion, Dorsey may not be able to sit still and focus on something for more than a few hours. He may go on silent retreats, vacation too much for the investor's taste, and spend too much time in the sauna. Yet for the past 10 years, he's helped create 2 of the most successful Silicon Valley companies, so he must be doing something right. On April 7th, 2020, he also pledged to transfer $1 billion worth of his shares of Square to fund COVID-19 relief efforts, universal basic income, and support for girls' health and education. And the truth is, he would have never ended up in that position if he had listened to the critics and let them crush his vision. Thanks a lot for watching this video. As always, it means the world to me, especially if you got this far into the video. Don't forget to check out my 75 People Who Do interview series, where you can find even more tips, tricks, productivity tools, and book references. Check it out here, and you get a discount too because you watch this video, you watch my content. Thank you so much for that. As always, I'll see you in the next weekly video. Thanks so much for watching. Keep up the great work and enjoy the journey you're on.